Hey folks, it's Ben. This is going to be more of I think a three-part series I'm going to do on sewing machines, and in particular this is a Singer. It's called the Fashion Mate model, if that'll focus on that, model 237. I think that's a model from the 60s. It's cast iron, but what I really bought it for is it was cheap, and I wanted to be able to tear apart a sewing machine. But first I wanted to know how it works. So I have my wife JL here with me, and so we're going to do fundamentals on getting this thing to sew. We're told it does work, and the preliminary tests show yes. So what's the first thing we have to do when we hook up a sewing machine?
If you actually want to run it, you have to thread it.
We have to thread it, okay. So there have been numbers written on the side here that kind of indicate, I'm guessing, how to run the cable, or the thread through. So it goes 1 up top, and then 2, that's a tensioner, that's right there. 3 through that thingamabob that goes up and down. You know what the formal term for that is? After the tensioner?
The arm?
The arm, okay. And being such an older unit, it's got a lot of, it's all, of course, all manual, but it's that old school awesomeness. Here's a little. Now my wife has a couple sewing machines. She's really good with this, so I can give her an old machine, say, hey, make it work, and she can figure it out. So and there's 3. And the 4th is that thing there, and then there's the needle right there. This unit does have a light, but it's broken. I paid $7.50 for it on a local bidding war site on Facebook, so with the intention of disassembling it, because I'd like to be able to fix a sewing machine if it were to ever break. However, in this case, this is a good donor model. Some cool things about it before she gets too crazy is if you turn this little switch here, you can actually, let me hold the base for me, open up the bottom of it, and there's all the cams and things like that. We'll get into that more into video number 2. But and somebody has etched some numbers on the top here as well, but we don't know what they stand for. So, okay, we got that part threaded. Now, of course, with sewing machines, there's 2 threads, right? There's the one on the top, and then there is a bobbin, which actually lays in the bottom there. So it's a round little, and it's been wound with thread as well. You have to wind them with thread, and so this machine back here has a clutch mechanism that allows you to wind the bobbin thread and press the pedal, and it would spin it and allow you to put the thread on the bobbin. But in this case, we've already done it. Actually, we already had a bobbin that had thread in it, but we've got one here to put the bobbin in. It goes actually in the base, and I'm going to cut across here, haha. And then as you can see, there's a mechanism down there that feeds the thread from below. So my wife's going to get an empty lid, you put the bobbin in it, stick it in there. Yeah, how do you pull it up? No, she got the cuts up through.
It actually came that time too.
Now bobbins are very specific to the machine, so you can't just grab one machine and take a bobbin and stick it into the other there. So
these older machines are a lot more forgiving than the newer ones. Okay. So they're much more likely to take a bobbin that's a little bit different size.
Okay.
The newer ones are like, no.
They have to be exact or they're not going to work.
They have to be perfect.
Alrighty, so in theory we've got it set. Now some of the controls we have on the machine here, we've got the needle position. L.
That's left, center, and right.
Okay.
And this is the
stitch width.
Straight ahead, and then the different widths of zigzag.
I see. So it can be pretty almost straight and then really zigzag back and forth.
This is straight, and then you can get it all the way out to zigzagging back and forth.
Okay. Well,
and then this one's length.
That's the feet that are down here. How hard it pulls it, or
the feed dogs. Yeah.
Yeah, the feed dogs that are
these little doohickeys are called.
Right, the little grippy parts.
And they'll move.
So the needle goes up, down, and then it moves it an amount, and that amount is based on whatever this lever is set for. And then we don't know what this one's for, do we?
That raises and lowers the feed dogs.
Okay, so you can kind of more or less, it's an adjustment?
Yeah.
Okay.
It drops them down.
Depending on how thick your fabric is, I guess.
Yeah, and sometimes you don't want it to be fed with the feed dogs. You want to do it by hand just because of different things. Like really fine fabric, if you let the feed dogs grab it, they'll rip it to pieces.
Right. And it's a foot pedal controlled, just like every other sewing machine. But
she has tension problems.
So running the foot pedal. It seems like it might have been variable speed at one time, but now it's pretty much yay or nay. So it was sold in working condition. That being said, when you sell a $7 sewing machine, you get what you pay for, right? So if I flip over my wife's shoulder here while she kind of figures that out, she's got a nice Brother, which is actually an embroidery machine. And then we have just an inexpensive machine to get the quick and dirties out, and then there's a serger, which is an entirely different beast, which there'll be videos about. Maybe not that one, but we do have another serger that seems to be having some timing issues, so we will take a look at that in a later video. But we'll tinker with this one a little bit more. We'll get her going, and then I'll bring you right to it. Okay, so we've been dinking around with it for a couple of minutes, and apparently there might be some sort of timing issue going on, because it's not, the needle goes down but it's not getting caught, and occasionally it does, but not every time.
It did that time too.
Yeah, it did catch that time. So there's an issue with the machine, and we'll get into the nitty-gritty of how it runs. I guess we'll just give it a quick spin here and see what we can do with her. But when we take it apart, we'll take a look to see what can we change in it, and maybe there is a setting we can do. It's tough to say with these older machines. You can still get user manuals online, that's for sure. But yeah, it's just at this point it's just pretty much poking a needle into the fabric and poking it out. It's not getting that lower end tie-in it's supposed to get. So that's what sewing machines do, is essentially tie fancy things. So
it just hasn't ever hooked.
Yeah. So the feed dogs pull clearly, but as you can see, it's not actually sticking to the fabric; it's just poking holes in it. So that's kind of the quick tour, anyway, of the Singer Model 237. This model doesn't work, but I'm going to play with it now for a little bit, and then the next video will be me actually starting to take this machine apart and seeing what makes it tick. There's a lot of mechanical cams and things inside. And like I said, we'll open up the bottom, we'll take a better look at that, and we'll see if we can tear it apart, and then hopefully the final video will be us putting it back together again and see if we can get it to work. To what end? There's no end. The machine was bought for YouTube purposes, so once we are done with it, the poor machine, we'll move on to a better life. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask a comment. If you like this video or the potential of the series, please like the video and subscribe to our channel. Definitely if you want updates. This could be one of 3 videos I'm thinking, but you never know. If we get this thing to work and it's kick butt, I'll be using it to sew all sorts of crap. So could be a longer video than that, but be sure to subscribe to our channel. Thank you and have a good day.